She's dead. Hey guys, welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Washington DC. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ben Stark. Spoiler alert, Elspeth dies.
Oh,
sorry, Ben.
Oh, I'm sad.
In the meantime, we've got two players sitting at 6 and 2 down here. Chris Pikula and James Searles playing for their tournament life. Only one of these players is going to be able to advance to day 2 and get a chance to open up some booster packs tomorrow morning and try to keep their top 8 dreams alive.
Exciting bubble match.
Yeah, we got a bubble match here. And a great start for Chris Pikula, which is with his Golden Hind, but doesn't actually use it for mana or anything. He just attacks with it, offers a trade, which is declined for the Akroan Skyguard from James Searles. Interesting draw there for James. He draws his second swamp here.
So does James have ways to enchant that Skyguard? It's kind of interesting, not blocking Golden Hind. I mean, it could definitely be correct. What is that?
Was that what I thought it was?
It looked like Claim of Erebus.
Yeah.
It can't be though, right?
There's no way he's... okay, I'm not going to say that in case that he was playing it, but if he is playing Claim of Erebos, the bottom of his library is a great spot for that card to live. And let's see what Chris Pikula comes up with as James just simply attacks for 1 here, no enchantment.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting sequence.
Gotta figure he's got something.
Right, I mean, even though Skyguard is maybe, well, I don't even want to say more powerful on paper than Golden Hind, because Golden Hind is really good. I mean, if you don't have any ways to enchant it, you're not trying to race 2 for 1 and let Chris have the extra mana should he need it on a later turn for acceleration.
You just have to block there,
yeah,
right?
I mean, Feral Invocation's scary, but there's only 1 pack of Theros. It's not like a straight Theros draft, you know?
Exactly. All right, so Chris Pikula has another productive turn here where he attacks with both of his 2 power creatures. They both get in, and he plays Nylea's Presence and a Skyguard of his own. But I think we have a gift for you, Chris Pikula. We do. The pony you've always wanted for your birthday. Here it is. It's a Crowan horse. James Searles plays it, passes a turn, and now leaves his Akroan Skyguard up. Has he reconsidered?
Well, that's a good reason not to make that trade because he knows he's going to have an endless supply of 1/1s to blank the 2/1, and he might need the flyer to stop other flyers or to win with. I guess he left it up playing to block the Akroan Skyguard that Chris played.
Okay. So he gets his first soldier token climbing out of the Akroan horse and onto his side of the battlefield here.
Or maybe just to represent a block. I mean, in the event that Chris attacks you with it, you have to assume Chris has something. So I don't know if he'll actually block or not here.
Let's see if he does. This is an interesting decision point.
Yeah.
Chris needs very little to make that Skyguard bigger than James Searles, who is tapped out. He does not, in fact, block. So that Skyguard not doing a lot of duty here. It hasn't blocked or attacked yet.
No.
And here's a Stonewise Fortifier for Chris Pikula. Perhaps not the most exciting play here, sitting on 5 mana with an additional 1 from the Golden Hind available.
Yeah, and I still might have blocked, but I feel a little better about the no block now that he drew or played the Akroan horse because, like I said, if you have an endless supply of 1/1s to stop Golden Hind, then you're less interested in trading a flyer. You know, it's like a different resource.
Sure. All right, so here's a nice one though for James Searles. He gets Supply Line Cranes. He decides to put the counter on the Akroan Skyguard. He gets his soldier after he passes a turn back, and he looks to have stabilized pretty nicely here.
And when you stabilize and your opponent has an Akroan horse, you're in pretty good shape.
You're in pretty good shape. And Pikula, you know, if the strength of his hand, if you want to try to figure it out, you can look that he's got access to basically any colors he wants and 6 mana in his play with Stonewise Fortifier. So you got to figure he's pretty much on empty here, at least as far as big swingy plays go.
Right. He's just got whatever trick that he had that allowed him to attack with the Akroan Skyguard, unless he was bluffing, but I think it looked like he had a trick in hand. He has some green spell in hand, right?
Yeah, he actually is just going to ship the turn back, so maybe it was just a bluff there, because it should be able to get through the, well, I guess the Supply Line Cranes,
I can't see what it is, but like he definitely has some green spell in hand.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been a card that makes it not big enough to get through Supply Line Cranes, even if pumped.
Oh, that's definitely possible, because if it got double blocked, that would be 4/6, so you'd be looking at like, you need more than +2/+2 to really be effective there.
That's right. Here's Nyx Infusion that's going to kill Swordwise Centaur.
Oh.
Wasn't really doing a whole lot anyway, but...
It's kind of interesting. Why not target Skyguard there?
Yeah. I mean, James might be still thinking that Chris has some type of pump spell and just...
The Skyguard doesn't have any counters though, right?
It has none, so yeah, it would just die anyway.
It would die in a turn even if you pumped it.
Yeah, you think that would be a better target, especially given that he's already got 3 soldiers, you know, after passing the turn
And given
back.
that he likely has a pump spell in hand. Oh, I can see it clearly now.
It's Mortal's Resolve.
Yeah, Mortal's Resolve. Yeah, so given that he had a pump spell in hand, it just made a lot more sense to take out the flyer, right?
Right.
I mean, I guess if it was feral invocation, it would then be an enchanted creature, so you'd be completely blown out.
Oh, yeah, that would have been pretty savage. All right, is this main phase here for Chris Pikula?
Time to feed trigger.
Ah, he's doing a main phase because he's drawn time to feed, and he wants to be able to take down supply line cranes.
Okay. It's 4. +1/+1. Oh, that is +1, yeah.
Remember, it's indestructible. It's also bigger, so... he targeted it twice. Did he get another counter on there? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he had to in order to be able to kill the supply line
Oh, of course.
cranes with time to feed. Skyguard reached exactly 4/4.
And he gets to attack here to bring James down to 7.
Yeah, but James has been sitting on a sip.
And there it is, Sip of Hemlock. So nice timing there for James Searles. He avoids the blowout with the Mortal's Resolve. Even gets a couple of damage in to start that race. But this game looks to go long if you're in James Searles' seat. He's in the driver's seat. Chris doesn't have much going on the ground at all.
Yeah, James should be attacking with that Crone Skyguard any day now.
Yes.
I probably would have sent it last turn because I was probably not going to block with it.
Right.
I understand why he didn't necessarily send it because maybe, he only had 4 1/1 blockers, but, probably not going to block with it at this point.
Sure.
Then again, if Chris alphas, maybe I am going to block with it. So maybe it, represented a block in a weird way,
Yeah. I mean, he certainly isn't in a hurry here, as now he's added an Oresco Swiftclaw, another soldier token, and a Gray Merchant.
And he still has gas in hand, right? He has like an asphyxiate or something?
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure I saw it.
I think he had one since the beginning, though.
Yeah, I think he has asphyxiate left, which tells him that if Chris draws a bomb, he's going to be able to asphyxiate it. So he's really trying to play this game slowly and controlling,
Now, would you asphyxiate the Sky Spear Cavalry there?
Yeah.
That's
a
a
good
pretty
enough
scary
creature.
card.
Yeah, and drawing Reprisal made it an easy decision for him.
Right, because now he can defend against some other huge bomb.
Right. And now he can start sending the flyer,
Yeah, he's just chipping away here.
pretty reasonable.
But things are just getting worse and worse for Pikula as those soldiers are getting out of hand, and eventually they're going to be able to start turning sideways, though. It'll be a while before that happens.
Yeah.
And Pikula looks like he's on empty here, passes the turn back. Remember, both of these players have picked up 2 losses during the Swiss portion here, so they must win in order to advance to day 2. The person who loses this match, unfortunately, is not going to be able to do that. And even more action for Searles here as he plays Read the Bones.
Read Duke Invitational card.
Finds 2 spells. Nyxborn Eidolon, and what is that one behind? Is it a...
Gold card, maybe? Like
It was a
Sentry?
gold card, yeah, like a Sentry? Is that what it was?
Could have been. Not really sure.
All right, attack for 2. It would make sense if it was Sentry because he's 1 mana short from being able to cast that. And all right, a Fleet Feather Cockatrice on end step for Pikula. So now we see what that island's there for potentially. And he draws an Elite Skirmisher for the turn, but he is going to attack. He has the mana, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. And he can Monstrous it.
And it's going to get reprisal.
And there it goes. So Searles has every answer.
Isn't it a little late to get a 1/1?
It feels very... Oh, but you know what? It's actually Chris's trigger.
Oh, so Chris has to do it?
Yeah, and so if he forgets, James can just choose to put it on the stack.
Oh, that's weird.
Wow, the insurance plan gets even better here for Searles as now he's drawn a Divine Verdict just in case. He's doing some math on the soldiers. It's probably a little soon to start swinging with all of them here.
I don't know, an alpha.
Or actually, wait, he's got the 3-1 down there as well.
Yeah. I mean, well, that attack, I don't
That's weird.
understand.
So he's throwing away 2 soldiers here.
Well, I thought maybe he could, get
Divine
to alphing,
Verdict?
but that attack was very strange.
That wasn't a good attack, right?
No, if he would have said all but 1 soldier, let's say, played a guy and then gotten a second soldier to have 3 blockers, that would have been reasonable. Because he has the 2/4, he has Gray Merchant and a Resco Swift Guide too. So he could have certainly made an alpha there, maybe held back 1 token, maybe none even. But sending 4 makes no sense. You don't throw away 2 soldiers to deal 2 damage there. Just
1 damage.
1 damage.
Yeah, because the horse ate up a damage or soaked up a damage
yeah, that
too.
just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But he's still in the driver's seat here.
Oh yeah, he's in a
and
commanding position.
He's doing the math again, counting up how many soldiers he's got left. And interestingly, he's just going to play the Eidolon on its own.
No idea what is going on.
It feels like you want to bestow that there, right?
Yeah, it's a 12th creature that does nothing compared to if you bestow it, it's 3 damage. I mean, if you bestow it, I guess maybe he could have Reprisal. Maybe since...
That is true. I mean, he's playing around a few things by doing that, but not a lot.
Maybe since James saw Reprisal, it's on his mind, and he's thinking, like, I don't know, but... I mean, Chris, like, emptied his hand not long ago.
Right.
If he does have Reprisal, you're going to swarm him anyway. Like,
Right. It feels pretty low risk.
Let's say Chris has Fated Retribution. If that's bestowed, you get it. You know, if Chris Fated's now, he'll get nothing. I don't...
Here's a Rotted Hulk for James Searles, so the ground is kind of unbelievably gummed up at this point. It is just a mess.
I mean, barring some very swingy, powerful cards, James is going to win this game.
Yeah.
I can't say I understand why he attacked with 4 soldiers that turn, or why he cast Nyxborn Eidolon instead of bestowing it onto the Crowan Skyguard. Doesn't really make a lot of sense.
All right, so Chris Pikula is going to play a Nyxborn Triton just to help shore up the ground game. Maybe buy him a turn, maybe just make James think. I mean, I think you'll see a lot of people in this spot just be like, whatever, just attack with my Skyguard.
Yep, you called it.
3.
So that was a Sentry of the Underworld. Plays it this turn. At least it's lethal now.
It regenerates, right?
It does.
So, like, that's another card that could have came into play several turns ago.
Right.
I mean, I know James is in a commanding position, so he's trying to play around things, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what or why he's held on to that for 3 turns.
Right, you got to be careful, right? I mean, there's definitely something to be said for shutting the door on your opponent and denying them future draw steps.
Yeah, especially when it comes at almost no risk.
Right.
Because, like, the number one card I'm thinking of if I'm James here is Fated Retribution, because I'm just in such a commanding position.
Right.
And Sentry regenerates, so that's not something I'm scared of happening.
Also, Fated Retribution, not great against a bestowed creature. Creature just falls off. All right. Well, looks like Chris Pikula does get one more draw step here thanks to the now flying Nyxborn Triton. I can't imagine a card that he can draw that actually saves him. I don't know of any card that gets in for 7 damage. I mean, he doesn't have enough mana to even do like a big Glimpse the Sun God or something like that where he can like tap down the team. There's just too many soldiers.
Yeah.
I think Chris has drawn Harvest Guard, I'll say it, and is doing, you know, his sort of due diligence of just making sure that he's not missing something, but I do expect to see him scoop up here pretty soon. He's doing a quick count and
doing a quick count of the soldiers that have never attacked.
Right.
Except when only 4 of them attacked, so that 2 of them could die and 1 point of damage could be dealt.
Right. Running the numbers here. I mean, you got to figure Pikula knows that he's basically dead here, but he's just trying to make sure, maybe trying to plant a little seed in James's head to put some doubt.
Who knows? I mean, I mean, Chris has probably been dead for several turns. I'm not saying that James had to alpha at all times, because if like 1 pump spell would keep Chris alive, you're not going to turn all your guys and then lose or something, you know? But I mean, I can't really imagine how Chris is going to win or live. I mean, I know last turn, James only attacked with the 2 flyers. He seemed surprised when Chris blocked, like he didn't necessarily know the Enlightenment gave flying.
Right, he picked it up and read it afterwards.
Yeah. He probably could have alpha for the win last turn or the turn before. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like to analyze things. Like, I like to try and think, like, what is James thinking? Because, sure, I mean, everyone makes the second best play sometimes, and I'm trying to understand, like, why he's making it or whatnot. But I honestly don't really know what's going on. The only play I can come up with is that he didn't bestow the Nyxborn Eidolon onto the Akron Skyguard because he wanted to play around with Prizal. And, I mean, even that, Chris had no cards in hand like a turn or 2 ago. It's uncommon. It's in 1 set. You don't know if they even have one.
Right.
I mean, I feel like at the end of that game, James just had a good board and wasn't too worried about the details.
Gotcha. He kind of knew he had it locked up. Let's take a look at a pretty sweet graphic here. Pro Tour Magic 2015 coming up August 1st through 3rd. It's in Portland, Oregon. It's Standard and Magic 2015 Booster Draft. Ben, you, of course, are going to be there battling. We certainly hope you'll join us for the webcast from Oregon. That is going to be fun. I've got some updates from the back tables as well. Chris Fennell up 1 game over Neil Oliver. He said that BDM told me that a creature with he says, quote, with 5 enchantments for the win.
Nice.
One was even Oliver's Cast into Darkness.
It's Fennell's style. He likes to go big.
Go tall, yeah.
Yeah.
Chapman Sim is up a game on Brad Nelson in a different feature match.
Is that a bubble match also?
I don't know. I'm assuming it is, though. And King of the Hill, Jonathan Sukenik, is down a game to John Goss. Trying to remain the King of the Hill for tomorrow morning. And that should be 2 undefeated players most likely battling there. So.
Yeah, King of the Hill is sweet. That's my goal for the next tournament I play, and I'm hoping to get to be King of the Hill. Not the whole time, because obviously I'm going to lose a match at some point, but I would definitely like to hold King of the Hill for a couple hours.
We've had people vehemently defend their King of the Hill. We saw Andrea Mengucci at the last Pro Tour get in King of the Hill and just hold onto it like a vice grip and ride it actually all the way to the top 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How
He
long?
did fall off of it.
Well, yeah,
But
at some
then-
point he didn't win the Pro Tour.
Well, no, I mean before top 8.
Oh,
but
okay.
he held on long enough with his record to still make the top 8 of the tournament. But he was there for 5 rounds or 6 rounds or something in a row. He was there forever.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, he was awesome. I remember he played against Reed Duke in a feature match, and he was just shaking afterwards because he said Reed Duke is like his magic hero.
Oh,
He
that's awesome.
reads all his stuff, and he was happy just to meet him.
Reed Duke is everyone's hero.
We saw that you got to have a chat with Reed
Yeah.
on camera. How did it go?
Great.
I haven't asked you yet. Was it good?
Oh, it's always great talking to Reed. You know, he's so positive, so upbeat.
The way I
And you know,
see it is
he gave some pretty meaningful answers. It's not like some people where they're smiling but they're just saying something totally cliche, like, you know, tells you how he feels.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good interview. It was sweet.
I can't really go to 4 Pro Tours a year and take a week off.
So I wonder what Chris
Anyway.
Pikula brought in out of the board. He definitely saw a few things that are sideboard worthy. The Crow and Horse gave him fits. If he has an answer to that, he'll probably want to try it out.
Yeah, a Crow and Horse looks to be at its best here because Chris has all ground guys and James has flyers. And I mean, Chris has a few flyers, but mostly a green-white ground deck.
Right.
And it looks like James is looking to kind of play defense on the ground
Yes.
and win in the air. And he has Read the Bones. It's like he's trying to play like a control game.
Yeah, Rotted Hulk to clog up the ground.
And when you're not trying to win on the ground, when you're trying to win in the air, and your opponent's trying to win on the ground with little guys, that's when a Crow and Horse is at its absolute best. I mean, look at all those creatures at blank last game. The Fortifier, the 2 Golden Hinds.
Yeah, any 2/1s are horrific against that card. The good news is that most of the answers for Crow and Horse also let you kill an enchantment, so you're not just bringing in artifact destruction, which isn't particularly good in this block.
Yeah, especially the green ones.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Looks like Pikula has kept his hand. I think he has Land Golden Hind stuff.
So
I don't think he has any white mana
that's
available
what I was
currently.
noticing. James is mulliganing.
Yeah, looks like he snap shipped that one off. Looks like Brad Nelson's about to even it up with his good friend, Johnny Mentor of Heroes. They're going to go to game 3. And there's a game 3 pending as well for Chris Fennell and Neil Oliver. So some good action down in the feature match here. We're heading into game 2 here with James Searles up a game. Chris Pikula made the trip down to DC here and really hoping to get through to day 2. James Searles in the exact same boat, and these guys are fighting it out to see who gets to come back in booster draft tomorrow morning.
Glad to see Chris here trying to qualify. I think with the changes to the Hall of Fame, he needs maybe 15 points or so to
15.
get back on the ballot.
Correct.
So he's out here in the trenches trying to pick up pro points.
Love it.
Round 6, round 5 out of the match. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, Golden Hind it is. No eye gouge from James Searles. And Searles has his second land and just ships a turn back. So here's a big turn for Pikula. Unfortunately, it's just a battle with the Golden Hind. I mean, not bad, but playing a 4-drop there can be pretty nasty.
Well, it doesn't look like he drew a plains yet, right?
You're right, he didn't, but he's got Burnished Heart, so he's going to have no more mana issues here potentially if that's what he wants. And an archetype of Courage here for James Searles is going to halt this whole ground game quite nicely for James Searles. Still no white mana here for Pakula, which is unfortunate because he's got an Akroan Skyguard, he's got a Stonewise Fortifier, and I think he's just going to sort of bluff attack here, and James actually takes it, so that's nice because I think Chris's plan is to sack that Burnished Heart.
Well, I think he has the Mortals Resolve, so I don't think it was actually a bluff attack.
Oh, it was a real one. Interesting. But do you think he's going to sack the Burnished Heart here, though?
I mean, I think if he didn't have the Mortals Resolve in hand, he would have maybe still attacked and then sacked it, or he might have just left it up to block and then sacked it.
Right.
Like, I do think he's going to sack it.
Yeah.
But if Cyril's would have blocked, I'm pretty sure he would play the Mortals Resolve
Agreed.
while his opponent's tapped out.
Yeah, totally. He actually had enough mana to do both if he wanted to, like let the damage happen and then still sack the Burnished Heart later.
I don't like how this game is going for Chris, because now we see the horse again.
Yeah, there's that horse.
There's no reason to think won't be an all-star again this game. Chris has an Akroan Skyguard, but I mean, that's 1 point a turn. I mean, you know, he could Mortals Resolve it to turn it into 2 points a turn. I mean, this is not a great plan, you know?
No, and that archetype of courage is an issue as well, as those soldiers are just going to keep going and going and going.
I think Chris actually just drew a Pharaoh's Enlightenment, so that actually gives him some potential clock.
He drew a what?
A Pharaoh's Enlightenment.
Oh, a Far's Enlightenment. Yeah, okay.
And I like this play because you're not going to beat the horse by being coy, you know what I mean? So he's just going to start getting counters on that thing, get it out of Pharika's Cure range. If Cyril's has removal or whatever, Chris is probably going to lose. I mean, you know, you can't play around everything.
Right.
So, I mean, I agree with Chris's play here.
I like it. Chris has a plan.
Yeah. He's got the Mortals Resolve to protect it from Asphyxiate, so there's only a few cards that would actually work here. You know, Bile Blight. No, that didn't even work. +1/+1. Just Lash of the
Lash
Whip.
would work,
yeah. Lash of the Whip. No, that didn't even work, right? It gets to 5 right now with the Mortals Resolve. So actually, you know, Chris is pretty well protected. So I don't know how many answers there are right there to that Skyguard with the Pharaoh's Enlightenment.
Interesting. So the other question is, okay, I guess now I was going to say, can Chris, you know, cast cheap creatures to sort of keep the Far's Enlightenment train going? And here's a verdict. So Chris Pakula is going to get to play around this. You see him carefully reading every card. He's a thorough player in that way. And there's Mortals Resolve, which is going to get in another 2 damage here. Yeah, these are big hits here.
Right.
That's 5 damage.
Right. And now that we're through the Resolve, it's going to come down to, does James have a second removal? Does he have Sip or Lash?
And he doesn't.
Some way to kill it.
Yeah, he doesn't have it in his hand right now, at least. All right, pick up a Far's Enlightenment. Does he have enough mana? Yep.
Right back down.
And he's interestingly going to put it there as well.
Gets it out of Lash range.
Yep.
Actually, I don't know this play if I agree as much, because I mean, if
would you rather see it on the Fortifier? Or?
Well, I mean, you turn that guy into a 3/3 flyer in case Chris.
Oh,
in case James
Reprisal
does
off
have
the
a removal.
top. He just drew it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that was the top deck, but
that was.
You know, Chris isn't under that much pressure. If he still had that Pharaoh's Alignment like on the Stonewise Fortifier, he would have a 3/3 flyer right now.
Yes, he would have.
4 hits.
It was very all in.
I liked all the aggressiveness out of Chris, like up until that point.
What just happened?
I don't know. What just happened? James sacrificed a 1/1 to deal some damage.
He did it to deal 1 damage, or to deal 2 damage.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps sacrificing 1/1 to deal a few points of damage. It's not.
He must have something against soldiers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not right. It's not that interesting. I think Chris's decisions were more interesting here.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not trying to harp on it too much, but the Pharaoh's Enlightenment, like, I don't know.
You think that was too all in to go on one creature?
I loved that he was aggressive and wasn't afraid. He had the Mortals Resolve, so he could play around most things. If Cyril's happened to have one of the few things it couldn't save from, then so be it. But at the end of the game, I don't think you needed to pull that guy to Lash Whip when you already pretty much knew he didn't have Lash of the Whip range, when you already knew he didn't have Lash because he would have probably lashed it already.
Right.
And even if so, like, if he has Lash, you have all your other guys to work with, you know what I mean? You put it on the Fortifier, you get him for 3, play another guy, goes back to your hand, put it on that guy.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, it's a pretty standard thing to diversify your threats when you can, right?
Yeah,
just that way in case one dies, and that's what happened here.
Yeah.
He got bitten by it. And here is Grey Merchant to help stabilize things. It's a 6-point life swing, 3+ for James, -3 for Chris Pakula. And he's found an interesting one here. Well, okay, he's going to be able to play it at some point here. But he's got Goldenhide, and he found Sudden Storm. The problem is those soldiers again. They are so annoying. Like, he can use it to take down, you know, some really nice blockers here, Sudden Storm to get him out of the way, but
and if he
soldiers.
If he had made that play, I mean, this would be an extremely tight game because, I mean, the Sentry is not really stopping the Fortifier because of Fortifier's ability, plus he has a Sudden Storm to punch it through. I mean, I'm sure there was some upside. Chris was probably mostly thinking about Lash of the Whip because I don't think James actually had an opportunity to use Lash. So I think that's why Chris put
I
the
don't think
Pharaoh's
he was on
Alignment there.
5 mana yet. I think you're right.
But, I mean, I don't even think we saw a lash in game 1, and you know, there's no reason to play around that there when you can diversify your threats and have multiple
It's
flyers.
just rough because you lose your enlightenment there, right? Like that's your engine. That's, you know, that's what makes drawing Golden Hind here on turn 10 or 11 decent.
Okay,
You know, you get to at least bounce your creature back again. Unfortunately, Chris is sitting on land, Sudden Storm, and James Earls is at a very healthy 14 while 6 is all the way down, excuse me, Chris is all the way down to 6 here.
Oh, Sudden Storm, yeah, sorry. And the Gray Merchant, I guess. It's Scry 1.
Sure.
Yep.
Scry 1, but again, the real issue here is that it's going to take multiple connects from Chris Pikula to actually be able to kill James Earls, and James looks like he wants to shut the door pretty soon here.
Yeah, he's counting the creatures in play. He might be more interested in alphing than last game.
Yes. You know, he might have realized last game that he let Chris have a couple extra draw steps, that is playing with fire sometimes, even though he was in a commanding state, and you might want to try to slam the door shut a little bit earlier here.
If you'd like to come up and play right now, we have 2
Nixon Fusion's going to take down the Fortifier.
Oh, wow. And he doesn't attack? I thought he did that to attack.
I thought so too, because that leaves him with only 3 blockers.
And they all have 1 toughness, so if they
Right.
even block a soldier, they die.
Right, but he didn't. And remember, all of James's guys had first strike anyway.
Right, so he'd have to like double block a
Yeah.
soldier.
All right, so that's going to do it though. Chris Pikula just can't quite find the answers, and James Earls was